Imagine discovering that every single time you've been betrayed or, passed over for a promotion or just treated unfairly by a friend, it was actually entirely your fault.
Right, and not just partially, like entirely your fault.
Exactly. Entirely. Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. Today we are unpacking a deeply philosophical essay from December 2010. It's by an author named Feng, and it's titled Perfect Human Nature is the Premise and Guarantee of a Perfect Life.
It's quite a title. And the core premise is, well, it's probably going to challenge every instinct you have.
Oh, for sure. If you are someone who, feels overwhelmed by life's frustrations, or if you wonder why you just keep hitting the exact same walls year after year, this text claims the problem isn't the economy. It's not your boss. It's not even bad luck.
Yeah, it says the root of literally every single dissatisfaction in your life is the flawed nature of your own mind.
Which is a lot to take in. So
Right.
setting the framework here is pretty crucial, right?
Very crucial, because we are looking at a text that boldly synthesizes some massive paradigms. I mean, the author weaves together the concept of karma across multiple lifetimes, principles from Western New Age philosophy regarding consciousness, and even, direct references to the teachings of Jesus Christ.
Right, which is a wild mix. But we should clarify our mission here. Our objective today isn't to preach these spiritual concepts to you.
No, not at all. We aren't trying to validate them as some absolute objective truth either.
Yeah, we are here to impartially examine the architecture of the author's argument. We really want to see how this specific, kind of radical lens attempts to map out the way our inner mindsets actively manufacture our external realities.
We're basically dissecting the machinery of the idea.
Exactly, dissecting the machinery. And to start that dissection, let's look at the baseline state of humanity, because most of us walk around with this sort of mental list of grievances.
Oh, definitely. A very long list.
Right. We have a list of people who have wronged us, institutions that have completely failed us, and circumstances that just hold us back. So what does this essay actually say to the person holding that list?
Basically, the author tells them to throw the list away.
Just toss it.
Just toss it. The argument is that before we can even begin to strive for, a perfect life, we have to completely redefine the origin point of our imperfections. The essay takes this really firm stance that a flawless life absolutely demands a flawless human nature as a prerequisite.
Okay, so how does he illustrate the mechanics of that?
He uses this very grounding analogy from manufacturing, actually. The mold. Think of casting metal or plastic.
Okay, yeah, like pouring liquid into a shape.
Exactly. If the mold itself has a hairline crack in it or maybe a dent, every single product poured from that mold is going to carry the exact same deformity.
Wow, yeah. It is physically impossible to cast a flawless product from a flawed mold.
Right. And the text also uses an agricultural parallel, which I think is really effective.
Oh, the field of weeds, right. I imagine it's a similar logic. The origin determines the outcome.
Precisely. The author points out that a field that is entirely overrun with weeds just cannot possibly yield an abundant crop of grain.
It's just basic biology at that point.
Yeah. So the focus is entirely shifted away from the output, the bad crop or the defective plastic part, and placed squarely on the origin.
The mold itself.
Right. When we regret our past, or if we feel our environment is suffocating us, or we just believe the people around us are constantly antagonistic.
The author says we are misdiagnosing the disease.
Exactly. We default to blaming our surroundings. We curse heaven for dealing us a bad hand. But the text argues we are ignoring the cracked mold. We are, getting angry at the weeds, but completely refusing to look at who is actually maintaining the field.
Okay, well, let's unpack this for a second, because there is a really vast spectrum of adversity out there. I mean, I can easily accept that if I wake up completely cynical and defensive, I am probably going to alienate my coworkers and have a terrible day at the office.
Sure, cause and effect.
Right, in that case, my internal flaw clearly caused my bad day. But what about objective severe misfortunes? Say a business partner quietly embezzles money from my company, or a lifelong friend just betrays me out of nowhere.
Right, the extreme cases.
Yeah. How does this philosophy leap from a bad mood ruins a meeting to my internal flaw literally caused someone else to commit a crime against me?
So that is exactly where the text crosses the bridge from standard behavioral psychology into absolute metaphysics. To address those severe, seemingly objective misfortunes, the author leans really heavily on a principle that's central to Western New Age philosophy.
Which is what?
The idea that reality is a projection of your consciousness.
Okay, let's drill into how that actually functions in this specific framework. Like, what is the mechanism turning a private thought into an embezzling business partner?
Well, the author argues that consciousness isn't just a passive observer of the world. It's not just sitting back watching. It is a highly active magnetic force.
Right, got it.
Right. So everything you encounter, whether you categorize it as wonderful or completely devastating, is actively pulled into your orbit by the specific frequency of your consciousness.
Interesting. So, like, attracts like.
Basically, yeah. A positive, refined consciousness acts as a magnet for favorable events and harmonious people. Conversely, a negative or flawed consciousness inevitably attracts unfavorable events, betrayals, and chaos.
So if misfortune seems to be the recurring theme of your life, the author insists the source code is written within your own mind.
Exactly. And the engine driving this entire process is what the text calls the law of causality.
Cause and effect. You reap what you sow.
Right, but stretched across a much wider timeline than we usually consider. The text explains that every single effect we experience in the present moment, a sweet fruit or a bitter one, originates from a highly specific cause.
This is no random chance.
None. The logic is unbending. Good causes mathematically yield good effects, and bad causes yield bad effects. So that profound dissatisfaction you might feel today isn't just random bad luck.
It's simply the delayed harvest of seeds of dissatisfaction you planted in the past.
Yes. The essay argues that until we are willing to look inward and really audit the seeds we are constantly dropping into the soil of our minds, we are basically doomed to keep harvesting the same bitter crops.
Okay, so the focus is entirely on extreme internal accountability. But applying that logic broadly creates some massive friction for me.
I can imagine, yeah.
Because if I turn on the news right now, I am going to see chaos. I mean, I am going to see systemic unfairness, random cruelty, deep suffering. If my consciousness is just projecting my reality, how does this author explain a world that is so visibly, undeniably broken?
Well, he does it by making the claim that the world actually isn't broken at all.
Wait, what?
Yeah. The text emphatically states that the world itself is completely flawless. If there is any flaw, any ugliness or injustice to be found, it resides exclusively within the imperfect nature of human beings.
A flawless world. I mean, that sounds almost illusional when you look at human history.
It is a radical stance.
How does the author even reconcile a perfect world with the reality of profound suffering?
The author reconciles it through a very specific definition of cosmic justice.
Okay, walk me through that logic.
The logic goes like this. Perfection belongs to perfect people, and imperfection inherently belongs to imperfect people. So if the universe were to take a deeply flawed, resentful, or malicious person and just drop them into a completely perfect, frictionless life.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the author argues that would actually be a profound cosmic injustice.
Wow, that flips our standard definition of fairness completely upside down.
Yeah.
Because we tend to view a fair world as one that, guarantees a perfect, safe environment for everyone, regardless of their internal state.
Right, but the text argues that true fairness is an environment that perfectly mirrors your internal state. You literally get exactly what you are. And to reinforce this, the author brings in that famous warning from Jesus Christ.
The one about the eye.
Yeah. Before you attempt to remove the tiny speck of dust from your neighbor's eye, you must first pull the massive wooden plank out of your own.
Right. Meaning you cannot accurately perceive, let alone fix, the flaws of the external world when your own vision is completely obstructed by your internal debris.
Exactly. And that concept of cosmic mirroring leads directly to what is arguably the most challenging, maybe even abrasive sentence in the entire essay.
Which is?
The author declares, without any caveat, no soul in the universe has been wronged.
Wait, hold on, stop. No soul has been wronged.
That's what it says.
That is a massive grenade to throw into a philosophical discussion. I mean, if someone is targeted in a random violent crime, or if a child experiences extreme poverty, this essay is genuinely claiming they aren't wronged.
Yes.
How does the author ethically justify a statement like that without just sliding straight into blatant victim blaming, like telling people they deserve their suffering?
Well, the text tackles that friction by pulling the camera back far, far beyond the scope of a single human lifespan. The author completely acknowledges that in the immediate moment, being harmed feels like a profound injustice.
Because it certainly feels that way.
Of course. But the essay argues that our perception of being wronged is simply a symptom of our limited vision. We're only looking at the effect, completely blind to the cause.
Ah, so this is where the multiple lifetimes come in.
Exactly. The text introduces the concept of karmic consequences, stretching across multiple lifetimes. We feel unjustly treated today simply because we have forgotten the wrongs or the sins we ourselves committed in the past.
So it operates almost like a cosmic debt collection agency.
A perfectly balanced ledger, yeah.
Yeah.
The author states that in this universe, there is absolutely no causeless love and there is no causeless hate. Every interaction is just the balancing of an equation.
That is heavy.
It is. If someone harms you and you genuinely cannot trace it back to anything you've done in this life, the text instructs you not to respond with burning resentment. Instead, you are supposed to look at the situation and understand that you are intrinsically connected to this person.
Like you have history.
Right. You must have incurred a debt against them in a previous existence, and the seemingly random harm is simply them arriving to settle the account.
Okay, so what does this all actually mean for how we process trauma or anger? I mean, trying to visualize this, it's almost like you are sitting in a theater watching a truly terrible, tragic play unfold on stage.
Okay, I like this analogy.
Right, and you are furious at the actors for ruining your evening. You're practically shouting at them from the audience. And then the director taps you on the shoulder, hands you the script, and reminds you that you actually wrote this play.
Yes.
You cast all the villains yourself.
Yeah.
The actors aren't attacking you. They're just perfectly executing the stage directions you gave them lifetimes ago.
That is a highly accurate translation of the text's underlying mechanism. You are simultaneously the aggrieved audience member and the architect of the tragedy.
Wow.
And exploring the utility of this framework reveals why the author pushes it so hard. Because whether a person literally believes in past lifetimes and karmic ledgers, or if they simply adopt this as a radical psychological metaphor, the application fundamentally alters how human beings process adversity.
Because it instantly kills the victim mentality. You literally can't be a victim of a play you wrote.
Exactly. It demands a complete overhaul of your critical thinking in times of crisis. When you view an unexpected harm not as a fresh, random injustice, but as the final clearing of an old, heavy debt from your ledger, the emotional mechanics change entirely.
You stop generating new anger.
You stop fueling the cycle of resentment. Instead of being a passive target of cruelty, you become an active participant in balancing your own cosmic checkbook. The author is basically offering a mechanism to stop the endless loop of victimhood dead in its tracks.
Okay, so if we accept this machinery, that our consciousness is projecting our reality, our flawed mold is casting deformed products, and every harm is just a debt being paid, what is the actual goal here?
The perfect life.
Right, but if we successfully fix the mold and clear the ledger, what does that resulting perfect life actually look like? Because let's be real, in our current culture, a perfect life is usually defined by a very specific tax bracket, an impressive job title, and a high degree of social influence.
Well, the author anticipates that exact cultural assumption and just systematically dismantles it.
Really?
Oh, yeah. The text explicitly states that a perfect life has absolutely nothing to do with status, reputation, material wealth, or any worldly metric of success or failure.
So the goal isn't manifesting a yacht or a corner office. The New Age elements aren't being used here to attract luxury.
Not at all. Worldly acquisitions are deemed entirely irrelevant to the equation. Instead, the author defines a perfect life strictly through internal barometers.
Like what?
It is characterized by a deeply tranquil and harmonious state of mind. It's the ability to remain completely unshaken by external honor or external disgrace. It manifests as this elegant, noble temperament that maintains perfect composure even when the environment becomes totally chaotic.
So it's an impenetrable baseline of inner peace. It doesn't really matter what the weather is doing outside. The temperature inside the house never fluctuates.
I love that, yes.
Yeah.
The ultimate diagnostic metric provided by the essay is actually quite simple. What is the overarching theme of your life?
The overarching theme.
Yeah. If someone were to listen to the music of your daily existence, is the dominant melody joy, happiness, and fulfillment? If so, the author says your life is perfect.
Even if you're broke.
Even if you're broke. But if the dominant theme is worry, pain, anxiety, and sorrow, then your life is fundamentally imperfect, regardless of how much power or capital you have accumulated.
And the text raises the stakes on this internal work to a fascinating level too. Because the author notes that an increasingly ugly human nature will inevitably lead your future to hell, while an increasingly refined and perfect human nature will undoubtedly lead your future to paradise.
Right.
And what really stands out to me is the tone there. The text doesn't frame this as a moral threat from a pulpit like, be good or God will punish you. It frames it as an inevitable, verifiable law of physics.
It really is presented as the natural mechanics of attraction. If your internal nature is ugly, meaning it is defined by resentment, greed, or hostility, your consciousness basically acts as a gravitational pull for scenarios of loss and conflict.
You mathematically guarantee a personal hell.
Yes. And to escape this, the essay offers a very practical, actionable directive. It's the cultivation of what the author calls the soul garden.
The soul garden.
Yeah, the author's instruction is simple, but incredibly difficult to execute. You must completely abandon all attempts to change other people. You must stop trying to fix the external world.
That is tough for a lot of people.
It is, but your singular, uncompromising job is to change yourself. If you successfully refine your own nature, the text promises that the people around you and your environment itself will automatically transform in response.
Yeah, cultivating the soul garden. The text uses a really beautiful piece of imagery to explain the how of this process, actually. It says, fragrance draws butterflies to flowers, and a pure heart invites celestial beings.
I think it is entirely about the ecosystem you are generating. The essay explains that you just cannot argue with the laws of agriculture. The specific climate and soil of a region absolutely dictate what kind of plant life can survive there. By the exact same logic, the climate of your consciousness dictates the events, opportunities, and people that can survive in your orbit. The external factors are simply responding to the internal environment.
You know, it makes me think of trying to grow a tropical rainforest in the Arctic.
Oh, that's a great way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, you can buy the most expensive, genetically perfect seeds of wealth, or maybe seeds of a healthy relationship. But if your internal soil is completely frozen over with cynicism or anger, absolutely nothing is going to take root. The environment just violently rejects the seed.
That analogy captures the mechanics perfectly. Your internal climate is the absolute ruler of your external reality.
And here's where it gets really interesting for me. If we look at the modern landscape, there is a suffocating amount of cultural pressure right now.
Endless pressure.
Right. Everyone is constantly hustling to optimize their routines, or networking to find the right mentors, or just arguing endlessly on the internet, trying to force other people to change their minds. We are exhausting ourselves trying to build a frictionless life by rearranging the furniture of the outside world.
Which never works.
Never. And this essay completely pulls the rug out from under that entire lifestyle. It argues the ultimate life hack isn't changing your career or moving to a new city. The only effective action you can take is weeding your own internal garden.
And if we connect this to the broader issue of why so many people feel chronically overwhelmed today, it almost always stems from trying to exert control over variables that are entirely outside of their jurisdiction.
We burn immense amounts of energy on that.
We do. We try to control the economy, our partner's mood, the political landscape, or just what a stranger thinks of us. The profound, almost startling relief offered by this essay's conclusion is that your only actual jurisdiction is your own human nature.
That is the beginning and the end of your responsibilities.
Exactly. It is a highly focused, incredibly liberating way to operate. You are relieved of the burden of fixing the world. You only have to fix the mold.
Which is a massive paradigm shift. And as we start to pull the threads of this deep dive together, we have really mapped out a radical blueprint today.
We definitely covered a lot of ground.
We did. We started with the confronting realization that our lives are cast from a flawed mold, that every piece of friction we experience is rooted in our own imperfect human nature, rather than the incompetence of the external world.
And from there, we examine the deeply challenging framework of cosmic justice, including that really heavy premise that no soul is ever truly wronged.
Right. The idea that the harm we endure is simply the mechanical settling of old karmic debts across time.
A framework that completely dismantles the victim mindset and forces radical, total accountability.
And ultimately, we redefined the perfect life. It isn't a destination marked by luxury or status. It is an impenetrable baseline of inner tranquility, maintained entirely by just pulling the weeds in our own soul garden.
For anyone listening who is navigating a highly demanding life, this knowledge serves as a critical defense against burnout.
It really does.
When you feel the familiar urge to force your environment to behave or to, yell at the actors on the stage, this text is a reminder that external control is a persistent illusion. By redirecting all of that wasted energy into refining your own consciousness, the essay suggests your external reality will effortlessly shift to match your new frequency.
If you create the fragrance, the butterflies have no choice but to arrive.
Beautifully said.
It really is a phenomenal, disruptive lens through which to view your own life. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with one final lingering question to mull over as you step back into your day.
Something to really think about.
Yes, exactly. Building on everything Zweffing outlined regarding our reality being a flawless projection, look closely at the biggest, most frustrating, recurring problem in your life right now. If the author is right, and your external environment is desperately trying to mirror your internal state, what is the hidden, uncomfortable flaw within yourself that your current struggles are trying to force you to finally see?